Happy Friday, everybody. It is May 20th, and the Cardboard Consultants are back. As always, I'm Arm Layton. We've got T. Kendall. I always want to go. I don't know if I want to go T. Wright, Kendall McGee. I don't know if I want to do first name, last name thing, but today we're doing both. You guys have a lot to talk about. I can't wait to tee you up on a lot of different stuff because not only do we have a lot to talk about in the hobby, you guys are now sellers on Loop, which is a big deal. And I'm very excited. I've already given you guys like several $100s on the Loop app, which is really funny.
And all of our sales are actually RM.
Yes, I think I account for a good bulk of your sales, but I would love to just open up with, talking about what your experience has been in the early going on Loop. And then we're going to get into a lot of card comparisons, price wise, current guys, former guys, and then the great pitcher debate with investing. So guys, how's Loop been?
It's been awesome. I mean, we did our first stream last Friday, a 4-hour gig, which is kind of a long time, not going to lie, sitting there talking to yourself for 4 hours. Thankfully, Kendall and I could split it up and do 2 hours a piece, but it went really well. We had some really good customer engagement, met a lot of new people. And then of course, was it 2 nights ago that you and I hopped on?
Yeah, that was fun.
And opened up a jumbo box, and that was great. A ton of engagement there. I think we need to look to do more stuff like that. Give people enough lead time to know, like, hey, this is what we're doing. We've got somebody coming on that can really talk about prospects in depth, which that was really fun. So so far so good. We look to go at it again tomorrow and just continue to kind of build that side of our business. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's really fun to get on there, and nobody bit the bullet on some jumbos. So if you're listening to this, we got jumbos. We want you to break them,
Well, what's awesome is if you use the link in our description, you get $20 when you download the app to just spend on products. So if you want to dip your toes in, you can get $20, get some packs and go from there. So there's no reason not to download the app. And that's why I always tell people just do it. Even if you don't want to spend money, give it a shot with your $20 free credit. It's like a free roulette spin. Might as well take it. But I've had a blast on there, and it's been really cool chasing after a lot of different players. We're going to talk about a lot of those players that have been chased after. I loved the live stream that we did because a lot of the questions that were coming in were similar to this. And I think it kind of inspired this conversation that we're having, which is, people were asking, is this guy worth the money? Is Khalil Watson worth the money? And it's a great question because it's not, do you like Khalil Watson? I'd say yes. But do you think he's worth the price he's at right now? And the answer was vehemently no, because we compared him to a lot of other prospects right now who are performing at a high level, have a close proximity to the big leagues, could be a superstar. And you could grab that for a lot cheaper than what Khalil Watson's doing. So we're going to start off with some of those card comparisons. And I know you've got some teed up for us, right? With I should say queued up, because if I say teed up T, that's like after we were sponsored by Loop, I kept using the in the loop like saying. And I feel like I do that with you, T. I'm like, let's tee you up. And then I'm like, oh, damn, how can I use another word? And then I can't. So anyways, comparisons.
Yeah. All right. Comparisons. Here we go. So this is all stemming again from my article that I wrote a couple of days ago over there at justbaseball.com, looking at the top 5 auto prices for the 2022 products. So I kind of worked backwards from 5 down to 1. And so we're going to do that here, not really focusing so much on giving feedback on the 2022 player, but really kind of, would you rather have X or Y? So if you've read the article, great. But also you're going to get to hear more a little bit about why Aram or why Kendall would choose the other player over the current 2022 featured product. So Colson Montgomery was the 5th on the list. Colson's prices are right around $100 and probably $50, $160. Although, as I said in the article, one went for as high as $280. They're kind of all over the place. I'd say more. I said the 280 was probably an outlier, more so along that 150 range. And so my comp there, or another guy that you can get around that price range, was O'Neal Cruz. So, and as we know, we're kind of all anticipating O'Neal's official jump up to the bigs. He's been relegated, I guess, to AAA for quite some time. So O'Neal, Cruz, Colson, Montgomery are right around the same price. My thinking, I'm taking Cruz all the way. I love what I've seen from him. I'm really excited about him. He's not just tearing it up right now, but I still am a big believer in him. So putting that on the table, O'Neal, Cruz for $150, Colson, Montgomery for 150-ish. Who are we taking?
So I'll jump on this first real quick because I think almost always here, the rest of the way, the obvious answer, it's going to be without blinking. It's going to be the player that's not in this 2022 Bowman baseball product, because that's kind of the point of the thought exercise here in the discussion. But I love O'Neal Cruz. Like, don't get me wrong. And I still think I thought he was a good buy earlier. It's getting up there a little bit, but I still think he's a good purchase. Colson Montgomery has looked so good out of the gate that I would almost think about it, which is crazy because I think O'Neal is the no-brainer. His power's off the charts. But this is the first one where I don't even have to be like, blink, got your answer. I think about it for a second because Montgomery has been so impressive. He's an incredible athlete, has top end raw power as well. Not quite on O'Neal Cruz's level, but up there. He's an above average runner so far this year in low A. Through now almost 90 plate appearances. He's hitting 306, 402, 472, only a 21% K rate. So O'Neal is still the choice, but this is the one that might be the closest because 150 really isn't that bad for probably one of the safer and still exciting prospects in this checklist.
Okay.
Yeah, I think for me, it's O'Neal Cruz because of how much I like him, because he's kind of like an alien in the hobby, like
that's why I love it too. I mean, the uniqueness.
Right. And I think the uniqueness adds to his lore. I think that adds to his prices, like similar to that of Jason Dominguez, Jason Dominguez prices hyped because of like the wow factor of what he could be. And I think O'Neal Cruz has that. And I think in small sample size, we've seen that he is real. And so I am only going to take O'Neal Cruz because he's quote unquote a major leaguer. Yeah. I think Colson Montgomery will be very good. He's tall, fast, strong. His batting average against balls in play is actually still like fairly decent, and so it's like WRC plus are off the charts. Like, he's young, he's in the A ball. Like, we need to see some stuff, but he's great. I'm not discounting that. I'm just going to take O'Neal Cruz because of what we have seen already at the major league level. And because he's just a unique guy. I think he's a guy that's going to take over the hobby pretty soon. So
good stuff. All right. This next one, I think, is going to give you a little bit more pause. I know you said that you liked the first question. You actually kind of thought about it, but I think you guys are going to have to really think this one through. Okay. So James Wood is a guy that we love. I know you love him a lot, Aram. So his prices are moving up a little bit. They've probably around, let's say, 220-ish, 225-ish as of a couple days ago. And so this guy is off to a really hot start. And the guy that I compared him to in the article, you have to pay a little bit more. I'm not saying that they're exactly same price. I think probably, let's say $30, $40 more, is Corbin Carroll. So you have Corbin Carroll.
I knew it. Sorry, I knew it.
James Wood is the either or.
I knew you were going to do that one. I don't know why, but that was two of the toughest that you could have brought up. I think I had a good feeling you were going to do this one. That's good, dude.
I know how much you like Corbin Carroll.
I'll go first on this one, Arnold.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think James Wood he's real good. If that's impossible to deny at this point. He's young, in A ball, same as Montgomery, but I think what he's doing right now is he's playing above his level. And I think we'll see a regression from him. He's super tall. I think he's probably, I haven't watched a whole lot of film, but he's probably got holes in his swing. I mean, he's got, I'm just looking at the Fangraphs data. They put him at a 20 out of 50 hit tool and a 20 in game power. And I can just imagine, like, they're probably, I mean, even though they might be a little wrong there, they probably saw something that is a hole in his swing. And so I'm going to assume that average comes down and his K percentage goes up a little bit. So again, I'm going to take the guy closer to the major leagues, even though this one This one was harder for me than the first one. I'll give you that.
So yeah, it's funny. I don't want to tee off too much right now. And again, using the T pun, but I look at the James Wood stuff and I just think Fangraphs is behind, respectfully.
Okay.
James Wood has a home run of 113 miles an hour this year. He said another one, 112 miles an hour. I understand like the concern of Fangraphs, like, oh, is he going to tap into the power in the games consistently? And I still think that's a big question. Will he consistently lift the ball enough? Because guys with a little bit more length to them tend to roll over. And as Kendall mentioned, I do think there's the potential for him having a hole in his swing a little bit, but he's already hitting way better than I think anybody thought he would at this level.
Yeah.
The bat to ball is a lot better than people thought. And he's producing 112, 113. It's like, I get why the price is where it is.
Yeah.
But when I look at a Corbin Carroll, the proximity is just a big difference maker here, right? Like this is a guy that's doing it at now basically what is almost the doorstep of the big leagues. And the thing with Corbin Carroll is I would put a lot of money literally on the fact that he will be a good big leaguer. I think James Wood could be potentially Aaron Judge. Like that's a potential outcome, but I wouldn't put a lot of money on it. Right. There's still so much progress to be made. And there's a lot of guys that have had that kind of crazy potential and fizzle out. I think he's a little bit more gifted than most. So I'd hold on to his cards. But Corbin Carroll is one of the best hitters I've seen in the minor leagues. Now is hitting for more power than ever. And yes, you could say it's a bandbox where he plays, but he has 4 home runs on the road as well. Insane defender, good runner, and makeup off the charts. That's the safest dude you can invest in. What he's doing this year is a joke. He has an 1166 OPS. I'm still buying Corbin Carroll, and I think he's one of the best buys in the hobby because I think he's going to be one of the best players in the game.
So best case scenario for James Wood, absolute ceiling is Aaron Judge. Give me an absolute ceiling best case scenario for Corbin Carroll.
It's not quite that. But I was looking along the lines of almost like a Johnny Damon, but I think with a bit more offensive consistency. You know, it's a lot of speed, sneaky power. I think he's a much better defender. Like I think his ceiling is a better Johnny Damon, which is almost a Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
it's almost a Hall of Famer.
So
like that's a ceiling.
Who ends up being better, him or Alec Thomas?
Him. And I love Alec Thomas, but him.
Nice. Okay, let's move on.
Who has a higher floor between them?
Ooh.
Good question.
They're both pretty rock solid. I guess because what we've seen from Thomas at the big league level, I'd say Alec Thomas. Like we've seen him in AAA, seen him at the big league level. I think Alec Thomas is a higher floor. He's looked phenomenal in the big league so far.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Moving on to the next guy, which I thought was probably the most surprising of the group, James Triantos. His prices are just nutty right now. And so, one of them was as high. One of his redemption cards, I believe, went as high as 290 a couple days ago. So in the article, I said you can buy both a Brett Beatty and Josh Young for the price of Triantos. And so I'm thinking,
can I choose that already?
And Josh Young's a guy that I'm excited about once he finally gets healthy, and we can talk about that a little bit later. But James Triantos, or would you like Brett Beatty and Josh Young in a package deal? Kendall, go.
Yeah, I'm going to choose the package deal here. Just hedging my bet with 2 cards at this, at relatively the same price. I don't like his start. The slow start is not looking great. I also don't like that it's a redemption. I know that's silly, but I don't like it because of what happened with my last 2 redemptions. I still have never seen a card. So
but he has on-card autos and redemptions.
It's weird.
I don't know. Maybe he just sent in like maybe Triantos just got tired of signing them. He just sent back half of them.
Yeah, I didn't quite.
Maybe he did half of them wrong. You'd be surprised. A lot of these guys, they're just passively doing it, and I'd probably do it wrong, to be honest. I'd mess something up.
One of the interesting things is those Bowman in 3D inserts. Khalil Watson.
Yeah, I heard
had one, and out of 5, and he only signed one of them.
And and that card's going for a lot right now.
Yeah. And they're starting to show up. It's like, congratulations, you have an autograph, and then the front's blank, and he only signed one. So
that's got to ruin your day.
I'm pretty sure you can send that back into Tops, by the way.
Yeah, I would imagine. I would imagine they'd fix
Tops
that.
will
give you the equal value, which it probably won't be after like
Yeah.
we've seen happen a couple times.
After,
But
after a year, when they get back to it, it's gonna get like they're gonna send him a JD Orr.
hey, he's been raking. He's
Yeah,
been
but he
raking.
paints. He don't even like baseball.
So getting back on the Chicago Cubs, James Triantos, right? So it's got to be the Cubs effect, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
what I
got
was
to be the impact there. Because here's the thing with Triantos, he's hitting well right out of the gate, and everyone wants to pile on, right? He's a high-end hit tool guy. He's a guy that's really advanced, really good field to hit. And as a result, he's going to get off to a hot start against low A pitching. But there's not a lot of power. There's not really any crazy tools you can dream on. I think he could be a really solid big leaguer, but he's not a potential superstar. He doesn't impact the baseball that much yet. The prices don't really make sense to me. High floor relative to who he is, as a high school guy in low A, but I don't think there's that much to dream on here.
I'm just really confused by that was the thing that surprised me the most as I went through these prices to find him basically as the third highest priced auto in the product. It was very confusing. So, all right, moving on. Ellie De La Cruz, another guy that we're super excited about, has an auto, one that sold for north of $300 a couple days ago. One player that sits above him in the top 100. And Ellie De La Cruz, I think, sits at 52 overall in our top 100. I can't remember. I think he's right around there. But a guy that's ahead of him that you can have for less is a current AL Rookie of the Year favorite in Jeremy Pena for $200. So would you pay $300 for an Ellie De La Cruz or $200 for a Jeremy Pena?
You're on fire, T. You're on fire.
I'm taking Pena again. I don't like the swing and miss from Ellie De La Cruz. I think he's going to be great, but I know RM loves him, but I think he's overhyped.
Ooh.
I mean, look at his numbers, man. Like he's not doing as good as some of the other players we've mentioned.
He's 20. He's 20 years old in high A with 6 homers and 276, 333, 533.
Yeah, but all those guys we mentioned were 19 at low A.
I mean, and De La Cruz, man, like he's settling in. This guy was a teenager. Like he just turned 20. I like him a lot. I'll tell you that. Like, and by the way, over at De La Cruz's last 15 games, 320, 400, 600 slash line. He's striking out 24% of the time. 180 WRC plus, which means he's 80% above average statistically. Like it's so fluid with these guys. You got to watch on with a fine tooth comb because Ellie De La Cruz figures something out with his swing and boom, things change. And it looks like things changed.
Because the numbers you just said were a lot better than some of the stuff he's gotten over.
Because he was so bad out of the gate as a young guy that the numbers on a macro scale look iffy. And that's what most people are looking at. I don't blame them. Most people don't have enough time to do the weird stuff that I'm doing to pull up. Like they have real things to do in the world. So I get it, but I'm looking at all those little trends and that's a perfect example. But that being said, I do see the risk. Like he's still a long ways away in the jump to double A. All of those things you pointed out, Kendall, could then resurface and it's a problem. Like he's still far away, but to me, he's everything Jason Dominguez should have been with the plus speed, the plus power, switch hitter, crazy arm. Like that's what we thought Jason Dominguez was. Like that's what Ellie De La Cruz is. But Jeremy Pena, talk about hot streaks over the last 20 games or so. We thought he was cooling off. Now he's heating up again. And he's one of the best defenders at shortstop. I know people don't care about that, but it'll matter when he wins Gold Gloves every year and when he could potentially be in the conversation as, one of the best all-around players in the game, which I don't think is out of the realm of possibility, down the line once Mike Trout fades. Like you have these guys that impact the game in every facet. Look at Carlos Correa. No one would have thought of him as one of the best players in the game. And then now he wins a platinum glove and hits a little bit better. And he was that guy. Jeremy Pena has been unbelievable. And he's clutch and he's fun and he can hit for power. The batting average keeps getting better. I assume the approach is going to continue to get better. He low-key has only played 100 and something minor league games. He's way ahead of his years, and I think he's only going to get better. I think Jeremy Pena is one of the best buys in the hobby right now, period.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right.
I will say, if Ellie De La Cruz puts on some weight,
oh, it's over.
Holy cow, look out. I mean, the guy's 6'5", 200 pounds.
I talked to one of my buddies too. One of the reasons I'm pretty strong on this too is one of my buddies, Mike Rothenberg, catches in the Tigers org, and they faced him for like a 6-game set. And he was like, you know, obviously really raw, but he does some things I've never seen people do on the baseball field. And I was like, that's what Jason Dominguez was supposed to be, right? But again, even back when Jason Dominguez didn't hit the wall, you could have had the conversation of like, it's too risky. Like, I still would have thought that was fair. So I think your Ellie De La Cruz point is totally fair, but could be worth the risk if you're feeling, you know, a little lucky.
When I look back a little bit, my original thought of Brennan Davis when you first brought him up to me was that he was skinny and maybe he wasn't in a profile. Do you see that same sort of look?
I think he could have a similar progression physically, but he's more athletic than Brennan Davis, which is even crazier to say. And a switch hitter.
Hello.
And more power. So yeah, he has.
Okay, maybe I'm taking Ellie Daly.
He's a freak, man. I'm crazy about, you know, his upside, but I have
I
one
will
more.
say he's ungodly expensive right now.
That's
Maybe
the thing.
give him
That's the
6
thing.
months.
So give me the guy that might legit win Rookie of the Year. Like, it's a crazy. Like, I just more wanted to get into Ellie De La Cruz, but you're 100% right. Like, we're talking about the guy that's going to probably win Rookie of the Year. He's top 10 in FWAR. He's, you know, one of the best in defensive run saved, and then also hitting well. Like, that's awesome. But I have one
making you forget about Julio Rodriguez.
Which is nuts.
That's saying a lot.
He's heating up though too, and his card's still way more expensive. Yeah. On the pitching side, I know I said it before we started recording, and I was like, I want to talk about pitchers, and you know, T dry heaved. You know,
he spit up on himself, and then
he literally had to change shirts.
I still have one more player.
Oh, you do? Let's go. All right, let's hear it.
All right,
these are good. T. I'll give you that.
The biggest chase in the product is Khalil Watson. We've talked about him a lot.
Oh, there's gonna be a big.
Khalil Watson's autos right now are going for around $500. $500 buys you a lot in this hobby. And I got to digging a little bit, not to mention you could buy a number of the guys we talked about, multiples.
You can buy this.
Or you could buy
Bo Jackson. You can for sure buy that.
So the thing that I found that I was just kind of blown away by was you can buy a CJ Abrams PSA 10 Bowman Chrome Auto for $475, or you can have a Khalil Watson Raw. Take your pick.
That's the easiest one.
Okay, so T gave us, you know, a bunch of crazy difficult ones, and then that one was just like let me just make a point real quick with a rhetorical. That was a rhetorical question, right? Like that wasn't even a real question. I mean, it that shows you how the chase, you know, you get so focused. You know, I think collectors get so focused on the chase that you don't look at the prices relative to others, and then people realize and it slows down. One thing I'll say too is Watson looks brutal in the box right now. I'm not worried about him long term. I think he's going to be great, but you know, like.
You're not worried about his off the field antics?
He's an interesting guy. Like, he fell in the draft, but he's not like some slam dunk, you know? So I look at Waller. I look at those guys.
Yeah,
like,
okay, where do you rank him? Just, okay, forget the CJ Abrams question, because it's obviously CJ Abrams. No offense to you. But in Lawler, Marcelo, Khalil, Brady House, add some of those guys together. Where do you put Khalil in that list?
I mean, definitely Lawler, Meyer. Oof. I'd probably lean Brady House.
Really? Trey Sweeney.
Brady House is better bat to ball.
Trey Sweeney?
So no, not Trey Sweeney.
Okay. I'll just see how far that's going to go.
Yeah. I still like Khalil, but like.
So Khalil's number 4 for you?
Yeah. I think Brady House is just as exciting.
I would put Khalil.
Khalil has some of the best raw bat speed I've seen in person. But you know, there's just a lot that needs to be sorted out there. Like, he's striking out like 40% of the time. You know, and we're seeing guys like Colson Montgomery, like we were talking about, at the same level, striking out 20% of the time, half the time, that he is.
So on May 16th, a Jordan Lawler Bowman Chrome first auto went for how much?
May 5th.
This was 3 days ago.
Was it graded or raw?
3 days ago, raw.
Base?
I have no guess.
How much? Base. Yeah, all this stuff is base just because it's easier to compare.
Is it like crazy high or is it?
No, it's not.
230.
Like, no, I would say it's cheaper than that. 170.
No, 356.
Whoa.
Okay.
Well, that's $150 less. You can turn around and buy, a O'Neal Cruz to complement your Jordan Lawler and have those two cards or one Khalil Watson. What do you think?
Absolutely give me Jordan Lawler. I mean, I'm a huge Jordan Lawler fan anyway, but
I'll spare you the prospect analysis on Jordan Lawler. I'll just give you this. Jordan Lawler this year, same level as Khalil Watson, 342, 457, 570 slash line. That's with 6 home runs and 18 stolen bases, 24% K rate, 14% walk rate. Khalil Watson thus far, 260, 308, 472 slash line. He has a 41.4% K rate, 6% walk rate, 6 home runs, 8 stolen bases. There is no conversation to be had here at all. And again, that's not even a bash on Khalil Watson. I think he's a great prospect and he has a ton of upside and he's really exciting. But come on. I know it's early results, but that's pretty stark.
Jordan Lawler could legit be the #1 prospect in baseball soon.
Yeah, I don't think that's out of the question. So that is nuts.
And look where Bobby Witt Jr. prices were.
It's crazy. He's starting to heat up too, though. I want to. So that's it.
That's all I got. Right? Let's go back to your topic.
Yes, those were.
Thank you for that, though. That was
those
awesome.
were really good. Until the last rhetorical one, but those were all really good. That was
I really like CJ Abrams too.
Though. More thinking than I thought. I thought it was going to be easy no brainers. That was even my lead. But I want to talk pitchers because I don't think I've liked a prospect, and I know it's not like a hot take. Grayson Rodriguez is phenomenal. Everyone knows that. I don't think I've liked a pitching prospect more than Grayson Rodriguez though ever. I mean, he's kind of the standard that I'll be comparing any top pitching prospect to. And to me also is in contention, depending on when he gets called up, to be the #1 prospect in baseball. And I also think could be a Cy Young winner, very, very soon. I see 4+ pitches, 3 potentially 70 grade pitches. His changeup is potentially an 80 grade pitch. And if you think that sounds hyperbolic for me, because I've been a little bit hyperbolic today, Grayson Rodriguez on Fangraphs has one of the most ridiculous pitch grades across the board I've ever seen. Fangraphs has 70 on the fastball, 70 on the slider, 60 on the curveball, 80 on the changeup, 60 on the cutter, and 50 command.
What can he not do?
That sounds like the best pitcher of all time. I almost think that's almost too much. My point being, this guy could be one of the greatest, right? That's the possibility here. He's 6'5", throws 100, all those things. It's still possible to get his Bowman Chrome Auto T for $65 raw.
Really?
$65 raw.
Okay.
I know people don't like investing in pitchers, but why would you not buy what is one of the best pitching prospects we've seen in a long time, I think, for $65?
Yeah, I think I just did some research on 130 point while we were talking. The last one sold for about 115. So I think his prices are going up, but that doesn't mean that you still have guys out there that are still probably listing them from around $100, and you could probably snipe one for 70,
especially at a show or something like that.
Absolutely. So you're probably not that far off. And just because one sold for 115 a couple days ago, I just looked at the last one, so I didn't even look at the couple before that, which easily could have been down in that range. So for $65, I think it's an absolute no-brainer. Of course, the biggest argument against buying a pitcher is that they could be the greatest pitcher on earth, and tomorrow they could be done. Now, of course, that applies to every.
That's my thing. Regardless. I think that's almost an overhyped concern, and I'm looking. I looked at one sold for 95, so somewhere between that range. But you're right, I was a little bit under on the May 16th was 65 buying now. I think it sold like that. So yeah, I was a little undersold. But what about at 100 even? What do you think?
I think it's for a guy that could potentially be the quality of pitcher that you think he could be, yeah, I think that's fine. I will kind of push back a little bit on it's just the same amount of risk for a positional player. I mean, with the pitcher, the guy's putting so much strain day after day after day on the primary thing that's going to determine his overall value and worth in the league. So
yeah,
with a positional player, yes, of course, they're using their bodies, they're using all the muscle groups that they need to play the game, but it's not typically done, I think, to the degree that pitchers have put strain on their arm over and over and over again.
Fair.
So
especially power pitchers.
Right. Yeah. That's another thing. What kind of pitcher is he? So I don't know. I'm fascinated by Grayson Rodriguez. I wouldn't mind owning shares of Grayson Rodriguez at all. So I really don't have arguments to push back against buying him other than what I've just said. But again, some people just disagree with that. So
yeah, I think I love the Grayson Rodriguez take. And when we were talking about, setting up for tonight, there's one, I mean, if we have all the autos we've had, all the autos we've collected and invested in, I have one slabbed non-Hall of Fame pitcher because I have some Nolan Ryans and I have some Randy Johnsons. All right, so I think those are a little bit of outliers. Is Joe Ryan.
Yeah, which is hilarious in the same conversation of the guys you just mentioned. But no, it's a good point, though. I mean, what'd you get him for?
So I got a PSA 10 auto, a Mojo auto chrome for $70.
And, already, what do you think that's worth? Given that he's gone up to the big league shoved and looks like he's not going to beat out Jeremy Pena, but he's going to get some rookie of the year votes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what it's worth. I bought it because I love
the answer would be more, right?
Yeah.
So that's my question is when you find a diamond in the rough position player wise, it's very holistic. It's different every time, but do you think you won't see the X return versus pitcher? Because at the end of the day, it's really just what you're buying it for and then what it duplicates towards. And obviously the baseline of a pitching card is going to be cheaper. So if I'm getting in for a quarter of the price, do you think that there's the same kind of 4X if they turn into the same caliber pitcher as
now? I will be getting
adjacent?
Jack Leiter cards, Aram.
Oh, Jack Leiter. I think he's going to transcend the pitching thing for sure.
Jack's market's going to be absolutely nuts, only because of the anticipation of the Jack Leiter.
And Jack Leiter just being Jack Leiter.
Yeah. I mean, it's the anticipation of
he might get to the pros before his card.
Yeah, it might be his tops card, man. It might just be his tops.
But I don't.
What are your thoughts on that?
See the same X return, like if you take a guy like what we saw with Jeremy Pena this past year. When did you first buy Jeremy Pena? What would you buy his auto at the cheapest?
We got in at like 65, 75, right? Somewhere between there.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're seeing right now about 200x, 200 like 250%. Around there, or 225%. So like something like that increase. So and Grayson Rodriguez, you're saying is right around, let's just say $100. Grayson Rodriguez comes in and has a potential rookie of the year type year. I don't know if he goes up to $300 or not. I don't think so. I really don't.
No, I mean Walker Buehler is going for about 100 and something.
Yeah. So
that's what's tough.
So is Grayson at the top of his market right now?
He might be. And that's kind of that. Do pitchers top out quicker? Like that's the other question,
I don't think he's at the top. I don't think so. What's he doing? What's he doing this year? What is he? Did you already say that?
Grayson Rodriguez.
Yeah.
I didn't get into the specific numbers, but what he's doing right now is
shoving.
AAA. He's made 8 starts. He has a 2.65 ERA, and he's striking out almost 14 batters per 9.
Okay. When's his?
Good Lord.
What's his ETA?
Should be tomorrow, but whenever the Orioles decide.
Yesterday.
Yeah, it should have been before. But yeah, whenever the Orioles decide.
Year?
What?
Will he come up this year?
Yes, I think he inevitably will come up this year.
Yeah.
After All-Star break?
I think so.
I think before.
I hope before.
Who comes first, Adley or him?
Adley.
They should come together.
They should be battery mates for the first game. It'd be the coolest thing ever.
That would be sick.
That would be pretty cool.
I mean, they're battery mates in AAA, right?
Yeah.
So what's the difference?
They should go up together.
That'd be
the only
so
sellout
cool.
of the year for the Orioles. It would be great.
I mean, they suck anyway.
Do it.
We talked about this yesterday on our AL West team. The A's have objectively a higher win percentage than the 4th and 5th place in the East.
That's bad.
That's real bad.
Oof.
So
that says a lot for Boston, by the way.
I don't think Grayson Rodriguez is at the top of his market. I think if you buy Grayson at 100, he comes in in say a month and puts together like 3 or 4 just phenomenal starts. That thing's going to go up. That his card's going to go up. So I think now, even buying it at 100, you're still getting it at a chance to get maybe even 50% return on that, say $150.
But that's, I think for most people, they're looking at that and they're like, that's not worth the added risk of a pitcher.
Right. But
So,
you're probably
I think
not
it's worth it for him.
Yeah, probably so. But that's what you're looking at with pitchers, though. I mean, that's the thing you have to take into consideration. Now, I bought my Nick Lodolo for $20 and one sold a couple days ago for $25. I made 25% return on Nick Lodolo, which is phenomenal.
yeah. Invest in pitchers. There you go.
Of course, he's not doing too great, but
He'll be fine.
Regardless, he'll be fine. But that's what you get. I mean, pitchers just, I think they get hit harder if they don't come out and just perform at an insanely high level.
Which most of them don't.
Right.
So I think if you do come out and you're shoving, it's like, oh, this guy's different. You know, like I would have loved to have seen the market. I wasn't really looking at the time of prospects wise, but like the market of the late Jose Fernandez when he first came out, because I mean, what he did right out of the gate was something that, you know, we rarely saw. It was like Fernando Valenzuela-esque, you know, so that's what I think Grayson Rodriguez is capable of. So I am very interested. I think he's a bit of a unicorn. So I think we agree, right? Like if you think it's a unicorn situation, definitely worth buying. Otherwise, it's really just more for your personal collection.
Yeah.
Maybe those unicorn situations are really only once every 5 years or so, you know, like that's just,
I think they are. And I think this guy is that.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'm right, because I think the Orioles need him more than any team needs one of their prospects in baseball, given their pitching situation. And I think he's going to be their ace for a long time. But you guys are going to be doing a break. So remember, people are watching this on Friday today, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we start at noon today. So if you're listening to this, we're probably on already.
Yeah. So go check out. The link is in our description to get the free $20 that you can put towards whatever they have right now. A lot of Bowmen baseball, but really excited to hear what you all pull. Let us know in the comments, you know, circle back, comment. We'll see it, you know, what you pull. Of course, any questions you all have, we are always here to answer them, and maybe we'll even feature them in the episode, which we always appreciate as well. But definitely go, even if you don't want to buy any cards, go hang out and you come talk to us on Loop. And we're always
ask us prospect questions.
Yeah, anytime. We're always out on there chatting. I try to FaceTime in there when I can too, or I'll just be in there joining the chat. But any final thoughts from you guys?
No. Happy hunting. I love this discussion. So hopefully we'll pull some of these guys tomorrow and continue to pull them. And we got several boxes, jumbo boxes, hobby boxes, blasters. So we're ready to roll.
For sale on eBay right now. This lucky pull I had of a guy that can't legally drive, I don't think. So that would have been a good comparison too, right? I was really excited to pull it, but I told you after I
really excited to sell it.
Right after I pulled this and I got the eBay comp, I sent it to you guys. I go, that's 4 Corbin Carrolls. So hopefully that's 4 Corbin Carrolls. All the best to Brian Acuna when we see him in the big leagues in like 7 years. And whoever buys that, thank you very much. And good luck. But that's it from me today, guys. As always, ton of fun. Really, really good hypotheticals. I thought it was going to be almost all rhetorical. It was not. Kendall, Rangers look okay. Life is good. Looking forward to hanging out on Loop with you guys tomorrow. And the Cardboard Consultants will all be back the next episode sometime next week.